Hi, we're back. Happy New Year. It's the end of February, and somehow you're listening to Miracles in Manhattan again. This is producer Marco popping in at the top of the episode to just say thank you to anybody who is tuning back in after a bit of an unexpected hiatus in which we went to podcasting camp and became epic. So if you would do us the kindness of just chilling out and giving us your ears to talk into for a while, I think everybody's going to be really happy about the outcome. Seriously, we missed you, and sorry to go off the radar. We've got some episodes in the can, and we're excited to hear from you for episodes going forward. You can email us by checking us out on Twitter or our website. You know how to find it. Anyway, we are back, and we will be releasing on Wednesdays or Thursdays for the foreseeable future. So stay tuned, and most of all, do keep it wavy.
God did not create a meaningless world.
The law of cause and effect, of course. And living in fear is a guaranteed way to make it so that you don't know how to love anything, isn't it?
Yeah, fear and love, those are the only two things. That's the only place we have free will. So we can choose love or we can choose fear at any moment. That's all that we can do, and that's what determines what happens next.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Like the graveyard of failed
Romance.
romance, I guess is the word that I should use. Is more of a garden in that way, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and we are moving towards the point where sorrow and happiness are the same thing. So hopefully this provides some comfort to our hero.
Exactly.
On the other hand, it could totally freak them out. But we'll see. You look skeptical about that.
Do you feel like it trembling? Do you hear it trembling?
Tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? So that was a hymn from my school. Sometimes
that was a gift to your producer, because that is the first thing listeners will hear, but auto-tuned.
Tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my... And the sooner we accept that there is only one of us in this room, mm-hmm. the sooner we will behave with compassion.
Okay, wait a minute. There's only one of us in this room?
Yeah, because bodies are an illusion. Separation is an illusion.
Oh, I see. I don't know why I assumed you meant it was you.
But they're blaming the other person for hurting them. If he didn't do that, I wouldn't be in this pain.
Or if I was more lovable, I wouldn't be in this pain.
Yep. But what this means is that we can be free from all of that angst and we can just enjoy sex and cheesecake.
Yeah.
So, if you remember...
Hey, Steph.
Yeah, what?
Let's do it again.
Why? What happened?
Because we can say the name of the show and everything this time.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. What do we call it? This is Miracles in Manhattan. Hi, Marco.
Hey, Steph, how are you? Hi.
Good. I'm really, really well. And every day it's always good no matter what. And that's where we want everyone to be.
Yeah. It's 7:45 p.m. in New York, drinking coffee.
Yeah.
Use this as a coaster, too.
I'm sorry, I know the tap, tap, tapping you don't like.
It's not for me. It's for the unique downloaders. Hey, Steph.
Yeah, what?
Let's do it again.
So I'm Reverend Stephanie Wild, psychic medium and spiritualist minister, spiritual counselor, and you are...
Marco, Mesto, a taxi driver,
Oh.
owner of a fleet of taxi drivers. I'm Marco Mesto, poet, writer. I think that's it.
Producer.
Producer, yeah, make the show happen.
And today is lesson 14 of A Course in Miracles. God did not...
Hey, Steph,
Yeah, what?
let's do it again. You can say the name of the show and everything this time.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
We say usually welcome to Miracles Manhattan.
Welcome to Miracles in Manhattan. I am the Reverend Stephanie Wild, spiritualist minister, psychic medium, and you are...
I am Marco Mesto, poet and producer, and this is the show where two spiritual delinquents...
Try to wake up in the city that never sleeps.
There you go.
And that's why we're having coffee at 7:45.
Yeah. Good morning.
We're up to lesson 14 of A Course in Miracles, and the lesson is
Buckle up.
God did not create a meaningless world.
What do we mean by God in this?
Right. Well, you can substitute the word God with spirit or universe or infinite intelligence or quantum field, or you can just take the word God out of it completely and you can say, I created this world with my thoughts. We all together created this world with our thoughts and actions, and it does not exist because we know now from the previous exercises that we create all of our experiences with our thoughts. We have given everything in this room all the meaning it has for us.
Yes.
They're not in control of everything. They don't have to be responsible for everything, yeah.
Right. Okay. This gets us away from questions that theists might have issues with, such as why is there suffering?
Exactly. So many organized religions grapple with that question. And it's a pointless question. I was going to say meaningless, but we use that word too much. It's a pointless question because God did not create suffering. We did.
Again, yeah, straight on the money with the better part of my hack of Zen, as I understand it. You know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a key principle to Zen is that life is pain or life is suffering, and the solution to that is to detach from attachments and desires and things like that because they are illusions.
Right, and that's it. But for the atheists, well, this is a really easy lesson because, if God doesn't exist, he couldn't have created a meaningless world. He didn't create the world anyway.
That's a very good observation. I really dig that.
So if we want to do the exercise itself, with eyes closed, think of all the horrors in the world that cross your mind. Name each one as it occurs to you, and then deny its reality. Say, for example, God did not create that war, and so it is not real. God did not create that airplane crash, and so it is not real. God did not create insert name of any politician that you hate.
Devin Nunes is an idiot.
And so it is not real. And if you don't want to use the word God, you can just take that out of the equation and say, we all collectively created wars. It's not real. It doesn't have to be that way. We all collectively created this political horror that we're living in, and we didn't have to do that. And it's not real. It doesn't have to exist.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And one of the big criticisms that, I've heard from people who don't understand what this work is really about is that they say, well, this just leads to nihilism because if nothing exists, well, we can do whatever we want. But that denies consequences. There are consequences. The law of cause and effect is in play, and what we do does matter at the level of form. And if we act with fear which means anger, hatred, all out of ego, then we're just going to have to keep coming back and learning these spiritual lessons until we free ourselves from that and we can enter serenity. So it is not about nothing mattering. It's about changing our perspective on our experience.
Right. Yeah. The law of cause and effect.
Karma, if you like.
I was going to say, I think in a future episode, this is a shout out to a friend of mine by the name of Caroline, who knows more about Zen than I do. I would love to have her call in for an episode and sort of break down some of these things in those terms so that I don't have to shoot from the hip all the time, or just to share her thoughts. That said, so I'm talking to you. See? The law of cause and effect, of course, and living in fear is a guaranteed way to make it so that you don't know how to love anything, isn't it?
Yeah, fear and love, those are the only two things. That's the only place we have free will. So we can choose love or we can choose fear at any moment. That's all that we can do, and that's what determines what happens next.
Can you unpack that when you say it's the only two things we can
choose? It's the only free will we have to choose between love and fear at any moment.
And how we approach a situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This lesson really makes me. It hits home again about how important it is to recognize that these are meant to be done kind of like on a one day and then move on to the next one.
Oh yeah.
Because I think sitting around and trying to deeply dive into this to try to go too deep into just this, which I mean it's based on this it's based on this statement. That is not substantiated. It's just a thing we're asked to be.
Yeah, exactly. And the text
at face value for now.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
The text does say that. You'll meet resistance. You'll try to decide what's true, what's not. Don't worry about it. Just do it and see how you feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And no more than 3 practice periods with today's idea, unless you find them comfortable. So if you're feeling like, oh yeah, this is taking me to serenity, then yeah, you keep doing it.
So there's a therapeutic something in
well, yeah, that's where we're moving towards. Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. And I think if you get up to this point in this lesson 14. And you stop there, I don't recommend stopping, but if you do, you kind of got it. You've got it. The world doesn't exist. We make it. Let's unmake it by changing our perspective and enter into the experience of serenity. And in fact, the text calls it salvation. This is the second coming of Christ. He's not going to fall down out of the sky. This is
as the Bible discusses.
Yeah.
The great.
He's gonna. He's not doing anything. He didn't exist anyway. But but we are going to be reborn. With this new perspective, right? So we're gonna leave our bodies, which are illusions, behind. We're gonna leave all of the war and the terror and all of this nasty stuff behind because it doesn't exist, and we're going to be reborn into true love, true perception. And just the experience of bliss.
What's a moment in your recovery or post-recovery where you kind of tangibly felt a feeling of rebirth that could have been or rearranging of perception that could be associated with this lesson?
Are you thinking? Do you have a...
No, this is not a loaded question. I'm asking you if you can think of like any particular moment where you're like, where it was like you let out a deep breath. You're like, okay.
Well, I think when I first really understood that I didn't have to drink. I mean, in that moment, I did not have to do that. That was all just my own illusion. That was all just my own thinking, and I'd created this belief system for myself that I had to drink, and all of a sudden I realized I didn't. That wasn't true.
Yeah.
And I felt completely free.
You didn't. So that statement, I've heard that statement before, and it's a little open ended, right? Because I don't have to drink, and it almost begs the question: in order to blank, right? In order to get through the day, whatever you want.
Yes.
What did it mean to you?
For me, yeah, the beliefs that I built up around it, to be a grown up, because I remember to be an adult. Like grown ups drink. You go out to some party and you have to drink. You go out to dinner and you have to drink. It's all this grown up stuff. That was. I remember thinking that years and years and years ago. That's something that I absolutely believed. I never questioned it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I had. I mean, I have others that I could think of, but to riff on that, for a long time when I was like. Really, really trying to chase after when I was getting sober. What was it? I entertained a fantasy of and it's great because the image of this fantasy is so this one, like even without the alcohol in the scene I'm about to describe, the scene would never happen. It was like being on some sort of yacht.
Oh,
at sunset somewhere.
Yeah.
And enjoying like I don't know, a single malt whiskey with
right.
Beautiful woman.
Well, it's in the ads. That's what they sell you, right? That's what they sell us.
Okay, that's a good point.
But we believe it. We believe it, and then they sell it back to us, kind of thing. I have a similar one.
I was like, one day that will be fine.
Yeah, one day, yeah. I had a similar one. Oh, God, what's that movie? The one, they remade it, and it had Pierce Brosnan in it and Renee Russo. Is that her name? And
it's not I know it's not this, but it's not When a Man Loves a Woman. Right?
No. That was Andy Garcia and Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
No, this is where he's the art thief.
Oh, right.
Yeah. What was that?
I don't know.
Someone will know. Email us, please. miraclesinmanhattan@gmail.com.
Yes.
And I remember this scene. Oh, my God. I think I have mentioned this scene before in this podcast.
Really?
Though, yeah, we may have lost that when the hard drive crashed. But those two characters... See, she's supposed to be getting this art thief, and he's seducing her, and convincing her not, to run away with him and not to, turn him in. And they're sitting at his luxurious hideaway, and he's burning masterpieces of art, and they're drinking red wine. Okay. And that's my equivalent of what you just described.
Oh, I want your equivalent. That sounds much better. In mine, I think I was also in the body of Burt Lancaster or someone like that.
Well, yeah, I was in Renee Russo's body, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was taller for sure.
Okay.
Or actually, not in her body, but in her body double's body.
Right. Hey now. Yeah, right. Okay. Neat.
So
why did I ask you that, I wonder?
Well, because I think we were talking about the beliefs that we no longer need to believe in order to be happy.
The beliefs that bring you peace, or the beliefs that get you closer to, away from assumptions and illusions and closer to just kind of living what you love, if you will.
Yeah, so, the boat and the single malt and the red wine and burning masterpieces, is not, in fact, going to bring us closer to serenity.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Right.
This stuff is changing our perspective.
Interesting. I'm starting to think now that one of the reasons we talk a lot about relationships on this show, sex and stuff like that, is that is maybe like a sort of was maybe for me a second act of coming to realize that assumptions I'd made about how to relate to other people were not written in stone and things like that.
Yeah.
I really should think about what I mean by that. But I guess I'm saying, like, I think for a long time I operated under the position of, like, this is what it means to be a boyfriend or a husband or this and that.
No, that's absolutely true. So, and we learn those from the tribe, right? The conventions of the culture that we live in. And that's what my second book is about, The Art of Romance.
I was going to give you an alley-oop on that. You don't have to do that yourself.
Oh, well, I mean, okay.
Yeah. The Art of Romance. Oh, with a foreword by yours truly.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Oh, that is a really great forward. It's a really nice essay. I love reading that. So, yeah, and the other reason why we talk about relationships and sex and all that so much here is because we learn through relationships. That's how we learn these spiritual lessons. We're here as different parts of ourselves to teach each other, teach ourselves how to throw off these illusions.
Yeah. And maybe, I don't want to speak too soon because maybe for somebody who is suffering the pain of a breakup or something like that, I think maybe I've sort of harbored a thought like the one you just articulated without having the words for it, but in a more, I don't mean this in a astrological kind of way, but in a more cosmic, from a more cosmic point of view or a far removed point of view. You could say something about relationships being, the proving ground or the laboratory of becoming a better person.
Absolutely,
something like that.
Absolutely, and the sooner we accept that there is only one of us in this room. Mm-hmm. The sooner we will behave with compassion.
Okay, wait a minute. There's only one of us in this room?
Yeah, because bodies are an illusion. Separation is an illusion.
Oh, I see. I don't know why I assumed you meant it was you. That's
I am not God. I am not a guru.
It was more just like, yeah. Okay, yeah, for sure. Like the graveyard of failed
romance.
Romance, I guess, is the word that I should use. Is more of a garden in that way, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and we are moving towards the point where sorrow and happiness are the same thing. Neither sorrow doesn't hurt us. We can just observe it and say, well, that's chemical, that's made up of thoughts, that doesn't exist. The same as excitement, happiness, anticipation, and what we call in Western thought positive and negative emotions.
Right. Yeah, that's a tall order, but certainly that's what this is on the trajectory. That's what we're moving.
Yeah.
What do you think that a person, our hero, if you will, who is suffering from a breakup or something like that right now is saying to themselves instead of this is chemical, this is a thought thing? What are they?
But they're blaming the other person for hurting them. If he didn't do that, I wouldn't be in this pain.
Or if I was more lovable, I wouldn't be in this pain.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, it's and you can't just jump straight to that. That's why these exercises are here.
Sure.
Because we move incrementally and we feel that it's true. We get a little happier day by day by day. And we get to the point where we understand that it's not someone else causing us pain and it's not because we are defective in some way.
Sure. I bring up sometimes I get a little bit ahead of things to project a solution down the road, largely so that people don't jump over to another podcast, and listen to episodes later on. We want them to stay on this.
Well, yeah, and I mean, this is the point of it is happiness, and that's where we are going, and So that and it's normal to wonder and to want an answer, and that's our ego.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the human condition. So
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay, so
And by the way,
Yeah.
I did get a message from a listener that they like your banter. They like your side.
that's not the one you sent me,
Steps.
though, is it?
I don't know. But anyway, we did get that, so don't worry.
I'm not worried about that anymore. No, I am who I am, or what I am. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, you sent me a screen grab of something from a listener who said Marco was about to launch into some sort of explanation, and then you just said this.
Oh yeah, no, that
intuitive
was
thing.
different. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Great. Yeah, no, I feel very comfortable with. I don't know why you're putting me on the spot here. There's just one of us.
I think that there was a moment of silence there, and I had to fill it.
Okay.
Which was my
You had to
ego.
vamp. Yeah, no.
Which was my ego.
No, that's fine. That's fine. This is
It just seems like a very serious episode.
It does, doesn't it?
But I guess it is. I mean, this is all about salvation. If this is it, and I suppose. But you know what? It doesn't have to be serious. Why can't it be
Right. I mean,
fun? I don't.
You've got Christ falling with Buddy Holly from an airplane to Earth, and I introduced the idea of the graveyard of lost love affairs.
But what this means is that we can be free from all of that angst, and we can just enjoy sex and cheesecake. Because
that's one of the sort of truisms that you believe that was something you told me early on.
Yeah, well, one of my teachers says it that way.
Yeah. Oh, this was the other question I was going to ask, because I see how this got a little dark. Okay. Because I was going to, for some reason, I thought you were going to have a quippy answer to my recovery question. And then I was going to launch into what's the worst subway ride you've ever been on?
Oh, the worst subway ride?
Like, describe like the moment where everything was peak shit.
I was in a very crowded subway car, and I couldn't move, and someone was feeling me up.
Yeah.
Ew.
Okay. Yeah.
Couldn't move. Couldn't get away.
Well, thanks for keeping it light, Steph.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm truly joking. Of course, that's going to be a woman's worst experience.
Yeah.
Gross. Yeah. It's sort of, I feel like New York City in the 70s, same situation, perhaps more perilous, but the subway car is empty or more empty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's the other nightmare when it's, especially like the middle of the night, and it's.
Yeah.
But, most of the time when I was on an empty subway, an empty-ish, well, I mean, it's more terrifying when there's just one other person in there. I was completely wasted, so I didn't really sense any danger.
Was this on your great 8-train trip around the city?
Oh, probably.
I see.
It wasn't just one trip either. Oh, God.
Yeah.
That happened a lot.
Right. Let's see. In terms of Sinister experiences, which is not really what I was after, but you brought it there. They all seem to involve a largely empty subway car.
Yeah.
And then someone either already has on or, more disturbingly, puts a mask on.
Oh, whoa.
Now, that's happened a lot to me. And I don't know why. Yeah.
That has never happened to me.
You know what? You don't need it.
What the hell?
Yeah. I mean, like, so most general example, it was recently, and it was like close enough to Halloween that like some kid was sort of just still wearing his non-monster Halloween mask, which makes it much worse.
Yeah.
It was just like sort of like a yellow rubber head. And he was doing these convulsions, and but then I realized he was just listening to music.
Yeah.
But so there's that, and then other times, like I've been on a crowded train where somebody just reached into a bag and put on, like, you name it. On one occasion, a gas mask. That's not cool.
Good Lord.
In a more strange turn of events, in the heat of the summer on the train to Brooklyn, of course, dude reaches into his bag and puts on a paintball mask. I don't know why. He just wanted to rock it that way.
Just getting prepared?
I guess. I mean, like, it would have been fine if paintball had broken out on that train. But yeah, masks are not cool to wear on the subway.
Wow.
So
what's all this got to do with anything?
how do you, oh yeah. So, okay, it actually has to be a little bit more about the crowded type example. So how do you find, in a moment like that, how does the thought, God didn't make this happen, help you through it?
Well, let me think, because I didn't know any of this then.
You can think, well,
So if it happened now, what are you about to do? You can help. I can do while you what?
It sounded like you needed to think.
Yeah.
Well, I can provide one more subway example.
Okay, go ahead.
This one has me being less panicky. It was late, relatively empty subway, and a woman sitting across from me was with some friends and stuff, so it wasn't like a worry. But she was definitely wasted, and she did that. She did this thing that like I've seen way too many times in the subway, where you think someone is sort of sleeping, and so they're bobbing and weaving with the motion of the car.
That was me so much.
And then they just sort of tip an extra inch forward and just vomit in their lap.
No, I didn't do that. I used to vomit in my bag. At least I was that aware.
Yeah, no. And lap and then the floor. And I was sitting directly across from her, and I didn't move. And I wasn't interested in like being near any of this, but I was also like, I've never done this before. So I just hung out for the next 10 stops and, played Angry Birds or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's very New York too, isn't it? It's just like, I mean, yeah, we can detach. We do learn to detach, don't we, in New York? Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was
can be healthy or unhealthy, I suppose. But yeah, we do learn to do that.
Yeah.
So how to deal with getting felt up in the subway when you can't move? Well, I was hoping to avoid this answer because it really is one of the answers that people get very angry about because it seems to put the responsibility on what's happening on the victim blaming. Mm-hmm. But, let's just see what happens here as I talk and think it through. So no one's doing it to me, right? It doesn't exist because my body doesn't exist. And the subway doesn't exist, and none of it exists. It's all in thought. It's all thought form. It just seems real. And so this helps me not get it ingrained into my subconscious so that I don't get traumatized, so that I don't have to step out of the subway and replay it and replay it and replay it and get angry and fearful and mad and then look at every other man who's ever going to step near me and, right?
Right.
It frees me from that. Now, if you go and say that to someone and they're right in the middle of the trauma, like I was at the time because I'd been abused as a child, it does seem to be victim blaming. So you just can't go from A to Z. You have to go through, or you don't have to, but most people need to go through the process of these kinds of exercises.
Sure. And you tell me if I'm wrong on this. By the way, I think we should release a companion episode to this one where I say all those things instead of you, and just see which gets more clicks.
Okay.
No, we won't do that because I value my everything. So it sounded to me that I cannot imagine. I certainly can't fully empathize with that experience. Right? I can make analogies. That's about as close as I can get. Yeah. But I don't imagine that. I mean, yeah, there is a guy grabbing on you. That's a fact. That's a material fact. And it
seems to be, yeah.
Or it seems to be, yeah. I mean,
in the level of form, yes.
In the level of form, right? I mean, like just to keep us a little bit away from like a solipsistic.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And because I think what I'm trying to say, because all those things transpired, but the question, it seems to me like what you're saying is you then are empowered to be the agent or the author of how they inscribe themselves or don't upon you.
Yes, precisely.
This, right? So you don't have to deny the fact that some dude felt you up.
Right. Because what actually causes the trauma is the belief that follows. Oh, I'm dirty, I'm shameful, and that's all part of society and women's oppression and blah, 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 all of that stuff. So it's not what actually happens that causes the suffering, it's the beliefs that follow. So what you say is precisely true, yeah.
Yeah, I think in an example like the one you gave, that's probably pretty accurate. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, if I could have turned around and elbowed him or whatever, and, that's fine too, as long as I do it with love.
Right.
I love you, and you need to learn this lesson.
Yes.
I'm going to elbow you in the head, and don't do that again. And I'm doing a service to my sisters. So as long as I do that with love and not hatred,
yeah,
it's okay.
Talk to a Shaolin monk; they can help you with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anything else to?
Anything else? No.
No, definitely not more. But yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good on that. But say something awesome. There will be editing on this. Just a little bit. No, I guess you know what I was looking for some kind of pretty bow to tie around this, and I think that if this is a module or a lesson, I've become sort of prickly about the word lesson for some reason. It speaks volumes about me personally.
Yeah, I know. Exercise, this little exercise because I think it's fine to be prickly about lesson because we don't want to be lecturing and telling you have to do it. It's exercise. Try this little exercise, and people get caught up in like, oh, I have to do them all in order and I have to do them one a day and I have to do it right. No, you don't. No, you don't. Just try them out. See how it makes you feel. This is a suggested order, but if you've come to understand parts of this, series already, you'll be able to skip around or stick to one a little bit longer or, it doesn't have to be linear. It's set out this way. It's convenient, but yeah, we don't want to give that impression.
No. Yeah. I mean, lessons, would you say exercises, brain traps?
Yeah.
Whatever you like. Yeah. Okay, cool. Wow, I interrupted myself, which is probably for the better. But I think I was part of me was searching for a something to tie this together conveniently, and I think that if this is a brain trap exercise that is really clearing the deck, as we sort of established, that it's fair not to expect that there will be a clean resolution coming out of this because, like you said, this is a pivotal kind of moment in the book. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll make this pretty. We'll make this one pretty.
All right.
Okay. No problem. All right. We got a lot. There's a lot of good in there. It's just that was tough. Sometimes things are tough. Mm-hmm. Cool. What's next?
My thoughts are images.